Hey, here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Ed's Pop-O-Matic podcast, a retro pop culture podcast. We have a huge team here to talk about the new release of the Monkees Super Deluxe version of Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and Jones LTD. The original 1967 album has been deluxed, and now it's been super deluxed. And so we're gonna talk about that tonight. We have incredible guests here. First, we have Fred Velez,
Hi,
Gail
everybody.
Bajkowski, Daniel Coston,
Hello, hello, hello.
Mark Arnold, and Michael Ventrella, both Monkees authors. We have uh, David. Is it David Wright? Did I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that right?
Uh-huh,
Because
yeah.
it took me a few minutes to put that together.
That's
Okay,
okay.
David Wright, and then we not the David Wright, but another just very as important David Wright, and Andy Maynard. So we're gonna open up the discussion a bit to talk a little bit about the original release from 1967. Um, Gail, where would you say that album fits in the Monkees' whole history of studio albums?
I think it's their crowning audio achievement. It's my favorite album of theirs. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. 50 whatever years now that I can still listen to this thing start to finish and really enjoy it. And I think some of that is because there's just an interesting collection of songs, different songwriters, nice input from the guys, instrumentally, vocally, and I think with Chip Douglas at the helm producing, created a really consistent album from start to finish. So I love it, I enjoy it, and I'm really excited that this box set has finally come out.
Dave, can you tell us, were you a fan of this album back in the day, or when did you discover it?
I was part of the 80s boom when they did the reunion as well.
Right.
I became familiar with the Monkees. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and Daniel, do you have any we'll go through track by track in just a few minutes, but any recollections on your feelings on the album?
This is definitely 1967, the Monkees. This was their year. I mean, you go between this and Headquarters. I go back and forth between this record and Headquarters is my favorite Monkees records. But I think Pisces is really the best of both the Monkees worlds. You get the band's input and you get the studio musicians' input, or the Monkey, and then the Monkees working with them. So really, again, looking through this track list again today, I was like, man, this is just a really good record.
Okay, and Mark, your thoughts on the album?
He's muted.
Oh, we cannot hear you. Can a monkey? The monkey cannot hear. No.
Charades with Mark. It's time for charades with Mark.
Okay, while Mark is trying to figure that out, Michael, could you share with us your thoughts on the album?
Sure. Well, I'm probably the oldest guy here, so I remember the Monkees when they were on TV when I was a kid, and trying to watch it on Monday nights and buying the albums at like yard sales for 50 cents or whatever. And so this was definitely my favorite album. Uh, I think Head might be my favorite album, but it's hard to consider that a favorite album because it's only got like 6 songs on it. You know, it's like half an album. But there's nothing wrong with this one. The best part about this is, as Daniel said, it's the Monkees. Headquarters is wonderful because it's all the Monkees.
Yeah.
This one is better because they got better musicians to make the songs better. I hate to say it, but you know, the Monkees weren't, maybe except for Peter, the Monkees weren't always the super musicians. And so this made it so much better. And I just love hearing all of them singing. You know, you get the first 2 albums and there's background singers, you don't know who they are. And even some of the later albums, the background singers, you just can't tell. You can hear it's Peter, it's Davy, it's Mickey back there singing background, and it just makes it perfect.
Yeah. We'll compare them to the Beach Boys, or at least this era. I mean, it's the band working with the musicians to make the songs better, much in the way that Brian wanted to make the Beach Boys sound better in '65 and '66.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, are you back?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I
Yay!
can hear you, Mark. Nice to see you.
All right,
See and
cool.
hear you.
I will tell you an odd way that I became a fan of this album. So I was kind of starting to become a Monkees fan. I wasn't originally. I've said this long before, but what made me a fan of this album is, and you mentioned it when you were trying to recruit people to do this podcast, is the Peter Percival's Pet Pig Porky, because Dr. Demento played it once. He did a show
Yeah.
of songs that were less than a minute long,
Uh-huh.
and one of them was "Whistle In" by the Beach Boys, and the Peter Patterson's Pet Pig Porky was the one they chose from the Monkees. And I just thought it was the weirdest thing I'd ever heard. And I go, wow, if they're that funny on the record, let me get this album. So I started scouring the thrift shops and, used record stores because, these things were out of print for the longest time. And I finally found a copy, and it quickly became one of my favorite albums.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. We have a gentleman named Bob Koenig that is trying to join us. Hold on, let me just see if I have
I'm
to
here. I'm
bring
here.
him in. There he
Hey.
is.
There he is.
Bob, how
Hey,
are
Bob.
you?
All right. Thank you for inviting me.
It's nice. We have two new people to the podcast tonight. We have Bob Koenig, and we have David Wright, or Dave Wright, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna laugh about that because I'm a Mets fan. I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Yeah, I'm a Mets fan too, so.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So both these guys, I met up with Dave through Zilch podcast Facebook posting, and he gave a very interesting remarks about the new set. So I invited him on, and Bob Koenig is a guy who did similarly on his Facebook page. And I had met Bob about a month or two ago because he does a exploiting the Beatles show. Very entertaining, by the way.
Thank you.
And so we'll talk a little bit about those kind of things as we get to the end of the podcast. But just to give you a little bit of an introduction, since what we're talking about is the initial release, 1967 release of the Monkees, Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Jones, and Sagittarius. No, whatever it is, LTD.
LTD, yeah.
Yes. So, Bob, would you be so kind as to share with us your thoughts on and memories of the album when you received it back in the day?
Well, I did watch the Monkees a bit as a young kid in the 60s, but I remember it more from 1970 at 12 o'clock on Saturday afternoons. My first copy of Pisces was around 1972. I found a copy at an antique kiosk in like a farmer's market on Long Island. I had that and the first two albums, all in mono for were they like $1 each? At the time, I didn't even know there was such a thing as used records, go and buy used records. So that was quite a different thing for me. But no, finding the Monkey stuff back then was gold, especially the fact that you found out a lot of people would badger you for the fact that you actually dared mention that you liked the Monkees.
Oh, is that horrible, isn't it?
The 70s was terrible for that.
Yeah. Cool. So, I think I'm the only one that has not gone yet. Oh, Fred. Yes, Fred. What was
Hello.
your memories of the album from way back in the day when you were just a wee kid?
Oh, well, I got the album actually a little bit later than when it was released, but I enjoyed it. I thought there was fantastic songs on it. I love the Nesmith songs. The Nesmith songs are incredible, and the other songs are wonderful. And I got to hear the weird stuff like Daily Nightly and Star Collector and stuff like that. And thought, whoa, these are pretty out there. And the first time hearing a Moog synthesizer on these songs. I think the Pisces was the first one of the first major rock albums to include a Moog synthesizer in there. I think
That's
the Doors,
right.
came a little bit later, or about the same time. But the
Okay.
songs were really amazing.
Right on. Okay, so my memory is essentially is that my sister was the Monkees fan in my house, and so she had all the albums, so at least the first 5 albums. And I liked this album because she would play it, and I got to know it, and then over time, I became a fan myself. But I loved the album art, and I loved the fact that as I've grown into the album over the years, because as Gail mentioned, you're listening to this still 50 years later, and it never quite leaves your listening cycle. And but I'm amazed by how you look at artists today like a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift or so forth, or an Adele or whoever, and it takes them 5 years or so, maybe longer, to make an album. And yet you'd had the Monkees the year before, who had never really been a band, right? They were just hired actors. They made themselves into a band. They made an album that was a good album, in headquarters. And a year later, boom, less than a year, right? Maybe 6 months later.
They had a new album every 5 months, basically, if you look at
Yeah,
the
okay.
calendar. Admittedly, the Beatles were similar. The Beatles had an album almost every 6 months for a while until, later in their career.
Yeah. But
That's
you
just the way
think
it was
about
done back then. I mean, Tommy James had an album every
exactly.
3 months.
Everybody had to have a single every few months, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the type of songs on the album, we're going to go through the track listing in a minute of the original album. And then we're gonna get to the new Super Deluxe, and then we'll kind of go through that. Bob, do you have a copy yet?
Of the new box,
Yes.
the
Right. You were showing it on Facebook,
box
right?
and the vinyl. Yeah.
Oh, very
Yay.
cool. Very cool.
I didn't
So,
play the
Very
vinyl
nice.
yet, but I got it.
so we'll get to that afterwards, and we're gonna go between Fred and Annie and yourself to kind of go through the features of the box set. Okay, and I'll ask you guys to each talk about different things, and I'll throw out questions about that. Okay, try to attempt to be organized. Uh, but what's incredible about the album to me is the maturity from you go from headquarters, which is pretty much just a garage band playing, and of course, as Michael indicated, with all the additional studio musicians involved on this one, creating songs like "The Door into Summer." I mean, it makes I think a lot of people who are music snobs still consider it to be bubblegum. God for bless it, but it is a much more mature record and whole. So let's go through the start. Fred, salesman.
Salesman, yeah, that is that's a great album opener. Mike Nesmith sings the lead on it. It's an unusual song in that it has some hidden connotations to it. If you look at the lyrics, if you really listen to it, and Andrew Sandoval says that when the song was first presented, the powers that be were iffy about including the song at all because there's all this background stuff in it that may not be right for the kids. But then Bob Rafelson heard it and thought it was perfect for the Devil and Peter Tork episode. So the song was left in the album, and it works perfectly in the segment in the Devil and Peter Tork. And it's true that if you look deep into the lyrics, says, oh boy, they're skirting things here. They're pushing the boundaries. But wow, what a great way to start the album.
I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna assign a song to everybody, and then if you guys want to come in on another song while you're at it, please feel free to jump in on it. But just for the sake of time, I kind of figure that might be the best way to go.
Can I make a
Anybody have
point
any?
about
Please. Michael, get ahead.
I
Get
think
in
it's
there.
important. For the first two albums, Mike was really left out. I mean, he really was ignored, and that's
Mhm.
why they had that big push. And so I think
Yeah.
it's really important to notice that Mike has the opening songs for both Headquarters and Pisces.
Yeah.
You know, that they want to say, look, he's one of the three main singers, and you have to take him seriously. So I think putting a Mike song first was definitely on their agenda.
Well, Mike also, by this album, you know, he had his tonsils removed. So his voice, his timbre on this album is different from the first three. And I think he's showing us his mature side in so many ways compared to what it was on the first three.
I'll also dare say that this is the best album and during the Monkey era of Mike as an interpreter of other writers' songs. This Salesman is a Craig Smith song. He does What Am I Doing Hanging Around? I mean, he does have two songs that he wrote or co-wrote on this album, but his interpretations of other people's songs on this album, it's, you know, he has 5 lead vocals on this album. He's stepping up big time here.
Okay. So we have She Hangs Out. Gail, can you take that one?
You know, this is a great one from the standpoint of, didn't they record this earlier also? Was there an early version? Because the Jeff Berry, Ellie Greenwich tune. Very catchy, very fun. I think it's used really well in which episode is it in? It's in Some Like It Lukewarm, I think, where they're in the band contest. They play that at the end when they've combined the two groups so that they're legitimate in the mixed group. And I think that's such a fun performance to end the show with. It's a really cool, catchy number, and I think it's a great Davy vocal. It's a really good vehicle for him. It's not a sappy ballad, you know, it's not too Broadway-esque. It's you know, it's just really kind of fun, kind of groovy.
A little rocker.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a rocker. All right, cool. All right, who we haven't heard from? We haven't heard from Dave. Dave, what about The Door in the Summer?
During the Summer, I believe it was written by Chip Douglas and Bill Martin. And Nez is doing the lead vocal. He got Mickey in the background. Very enjoyable tune. I mean, Nez is personally my favorite singer. So on there. So I don't think you can go wrong with The Door in the Summer. It's a really beautiful tune.
The live version.
The Monkees. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying the live version that came out a couple of years ago is better in my opinion. I really love that version.
That's a good one. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
We saw that concert tour. I was like, I couldn't believe what he came up with that. You know, I was like, wow, it was great.
Yeah, that was one a lot of us, I think, have been waiting to see live for a really long time. It was awesome that they got played in the last couple tours. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite songs of all time, one of my favorite Monkey songs. And what's fun about the box set, there's a bunch of different versions, and I'll listen to it any way anybody wants to arrange it. I really enjoy it. What's interesting to note, if you guys are on, you know, I'm sure you are on a lot of the Facebook Monkees groups, Bill Chadwick has weighed in and said that he's actually the one singing background on Door into Summer. It's not Mickey. And for a lot of years, I loved, you know, the vocals on this with Nez and Mickey. And the more I listen to it, and specifically now with some of these new arrangements and you know, better headphones, I'm hearing it and I'm going, I really am hearing Bill, I think. It doesn't sound as much like Mickey. So I'm a little heartbroken. I'll get over it. But
would you say that Bill is trying to imitate Mickey?
I don't think so. I think Bill was a singer in his own right, and he has said that Nez pretty much let him do a lot of background vocals on anything that Nez was singing on, or you know, some of the stuff that Nez wrote. So I think there's you know, I don't know why Bill would say that so many years hence if it wasn't true. So, but you know, I don't find him credited anywhere officially. I think it shows Mickey as a vocalist on that. So kind of interesting. But yeah, take a listen and see if you notice anything.
Right. Bill's vocals are very similar to Mickey's, and Bill did audition for the Monkees TV show too, and he didn't get it because he resembled Mickey too much, I think. And Mickey had more of the acting experience, but they loved his vocals, and he was used as an extra in the series, and you'll see Bill in some scenes in the early episodes, but he's used a lot, especially on the Nesmith tunes on a lot of the records.
Interesting. Let me ask him, Fred and Gail. You relate. I see that Bill Shadwick is also present on Facebook. That's my favorite, if you will, or whatever, my social media of choice. So I see him now and again on stuff. But it's interesting to me that he auditioned for the Monkees originally, but I remember him as more as a songwriting partner with Davy Jones. A little bit later on, like from '67 on, maybe he has a couple of songs he's written. So I was just curious as to how, he might have gotten into the circle of trust with the Monkees, if you will.
Well, I think he goes back
Well,
to pretty far with Nez from the days at the Troubadour
yes.
and doing the hoots. They were,
Mhm.
were they part of a
Yeah.
trio? I forget now, but
Yes, they were.
yeah.
Yeah. They did the Troubadour and all that, like you said, Gail. So they had a history together, and so when Nez got the Monkey gig, he wanted Bill included as part of the deal.
Would he have been in the band he was with Michael Murphy? Michael
I
Murphy
don't think
something?
so.
No,
The Lewis and Clark
Lewis and Clark
expedition.
Yeah, the
expedition.
Lewis and Clark expedition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was
Because there's a because
Michael Murphy and Owen Castleman. Yeah.
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 Because I was reading up on Michael Murphy. There's a third name in there. I can't seem to find it.
Martin.
Michael Martin Murphy.
Martin Murphy.
Yep.
Right. So anyway, so I read that he was in a trio with Nesmith when I was reading up on the Lewis and Clark expedition and so forth, to seeing as to what was that all about. And so it was curious to me that Nesmith was part of working with him. I'm not sure where I was going with all this. Okay. Sorry. All
No,
righty.
it just showed that Mike brought a lot of people in.
He did, yes.
He brought
really
Chip
did.
Douglas, and yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right.
that's right. Yeah.
it was Mike who got Chip Douglas to produce them
Right.
because he liked their work with the turtle. He liked his Chip's work with the Turtles, and he said, I want
Yay.
that guy."
Very cool. All right, so let's move on to Love Is Only Sleeping. Mark, would you want to handle that one?
Sure. Let's see. That's another Nesmith one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Vocal.
He didn't
yeah.
write it.
My
Did-
favorite
did
song
he
of
write
the
it?
album, but yeah.
No.
It's a man
Barry
wheel.
Mann,
Okay,
Cynthia
didn't he?
Weil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about, and we've already said this, is like, he does all these songs and, he doesn't write them, but he makes them his own. So you think he did. I mean, for the longest time, I thought Nesmith wrote everything he sang. And then, because I wasn't necessarily a liner notes reader in my early years, I just play something and I go, oh, he didn't. But Nesmith certainly could pick tunes that suited his own style. So I guess that's, why it worked so well. It wasn't like he was going to pick something that Mickey should have sang or something like that, And to piggyback on what you've been saying about the backing vocals, I think since Nesmith's voice generally he sings lower, he always tends to like a higher voice singing with him to kind of complement him instead of having two low voice singers. And so, if they're sounding like Mickey, well, that's probably why, since Mickey sings high too. But yes, I really enjoy that song too. So, yep.
Anybody want to pop in on that one?
It's got a weird time signature at the beginning, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of unusual. If you try to play it, it's not the most easy thing to play. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting that there's two Nesmith tunes run right after another, because usually they tried to split it so you have like two Davy songs next to each other or something.
Yeah.
So it's the only time I can think of where there's two Nesmith songs, one right after another.
This is also one of the few songs that they didn't do live in the 2010s, and I know they actually did try it at a rehearsal once with John Billings and Peter both playing bass. They just decided not to move forward with that, but man, I would love to have heard that live.
Well, like I said, it's a difficult song to play because of the time signatures.
Yes, and they mentioned that as well. Yeah.
Any
let's
thoughts? Any thoughts, Annie?
Sorry. Love is Only Sleeping. I love it. It's you've got Nez doing what's it called? Shoot, I can't think of the word when you're singing higher than you normally do. At parts. Falsetto, thank you.
Yeah.
Slipped my mind. And you know, we don't hear that always. He tends to sing a little bit lower, and I think it sounds great. And some great harmony and backing vocals from Davey and Mickey in that one. I love it. Sorry. I'm not sure if I have anything else more to say, but I think it's beautiful.
Fred, you wanted to comment?
No, I was just gonna say it was Annie's turn.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. Anybody else before we move on?
It's such a great song. I love the, well, I know that's on the box, but I like the single mix of Love is Only Sleeping.
Yeah.
I wish that that had come out, but
There's too many good songs on that album. You know,
Right.
Could have been a single.
Absolutely. Could have had a couple of more. The Shit Hangs Out could have been a single, you know? And one comment I have regarding Love is Only Sleeping is that, you know, again, you talk about Nesmith's voice. I've always found that to be a humorous take on just his styling, his vocal styling on the song. You know, you could see a smile in the way that he sings the voice, and he's like having a little fun. I almost think it could have been a Peter Talk song. Because Peter Falk was always the kind of goofy one, you know, character, okay, on the TV show. And, you know, he doesn't really have a song on the album. And so maybe they could have given that one to Peter. Okay. Moving on to Cuddly Toy. Daniel, why don't we start with you?
Harry Nielsen. Enough said. You know, this is the one that convinced Harry to quit the bank and start writing some more songs, according to Mickey. This was actually, I remember hearing them do this on the '86 reunion tour, which was really, you know, again, when they were, every once in a while they would play something you didn't expect to see live. So
yeah,
again, and a really good Davey vehicle. And also, going back to earlier discussion, another song that's pushing the envelope in terms of lyrical content. You have this, you have Salesman, you have Star Collector, which we'll discuss shortly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I was thinking about this when we were setting up for this. Is like, okay, is this album, well, say if Headquarters is the Monkees' Rubber Soul, is this album like Revolver / Pepper? For the Monkees, it's the album where they say, okay, we've done that, we've done this stuff, you know, for not intentionally younger audiences, but something this is okay, this is where we are, this is where we are now. So, you know, all things are possible in 1967.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told Chip Douglas that I always felt that Pisces was, because he was a producer, that Pisces was the Monkees' Sgt. Pepper. So I'm glad I told him that.
Very cool. Dave, any thoughts?
I will add something to what Daniel said, which I pointed out in my Monkees book, in the Monkees book I wrote with Mark, is that the three of the Davey songs are very sort of anti-women songs. Cuddly Toy and Star Collector and Hangs Out. He doesn't really like the women in any of those songs. And they're all written by three different people, so it's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But none of them are very respectful to the woman. How about that?
About that, huh? Well, you know, you can't be doing what's the song he does on was it the second album to get that Schmaltzy ballad? I Love You Forever. No, not I Love You.
Oh, the worst Monkey song, yes.
Fall in love. You can't do that forever. No.
So what happens after you sing that song? You end up with Pisces. So there you go.
It could have been Davey's choice though, because maybe he was getting pigeonholed as being too schmaltzy, and he says, "Write me some meaty stuff, you know, some anti-women stuff." No, I don't know, but you know, he did sappy stuff later that was good, like Girl and stuff.
Oh yeah, right.
Here's the funny thing about Cuddly Toy, is that Harry Nielsen wrote it, and if you know the story behind it, it's biker slang for a woman that gets passed from guy to guy.
Mhm.
And when he told the powers that be what the song was really about, they were like, we can't put that on there, but it was already too late. The song was already on the record, you know. So
Yeah.
he slipped something in by them.
Well, you know what's good about the fact that I think all of you, most of you brought out, is with these songs like "Salesman" and "Cuddly Toy," and what was this? "She Hangs Out," whatever. I mean, they're approaching more serious issues, but they're also doing it in a lighthearted way, so
Mhm.
that it kind of appeals to the younger audience, and it kind of any of the serious undertones of it would kind of go over their heads, and the older kids would have, older audience would have appreciated it. Okay, now we're gonna
Well,
get
the
to
thing
my
is that
favorite track
Davey,
on the album, "Words."
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, Bob, you want to start off on that one?
Sure. Well, words. I just love the fact that that Peter got a chance to sing something with that. That's really a big deal with it. I like the TV version too, but this one has the added dynamic that of course it's the band and it's really them. Um, the voice and heart type of songs. I felt this album was getting more of a departure from that, but this song is really fitting and they did a good job on it. We were talking about this album before, like where it stands with different things. I don't know if we're getting into this later or not. I always see this album, if you put the Monkees albums as a pyramid, to me, this is the top of the pyramid. It's
Oh,
sort of like the best of both worlds. They're using different musicians, but it's also them. I mean, the main guitar parts are really Mike and Peter. And I think Peter really shines as a musician on this album, and Mike is showing his strong force as it is, not just as a musician, but just of getting his way. I feel that this was another way of him getting his way, bringing other people in that he knew, and pushing different things for the album. Uh, Mickey is innovative of bringing the synthesizer in, of course. Um, the two things that I would say were a down thing of the album, if there is a down, is I understand with Mickey, he was sort of upset that other drummers were being brought in when he felt a bit more confident of playing, and
yeah,
then he sort of started to lose his confidence of that. That was one thing that was a change.
that's
I think
interesting.
because the band was becoming really more a band, there was less a place of Davey and his ways, like you were saying on the first two albums or so. And I think that's why there's less Davey songs on here, although we'll talk about the other ones. But I think he was trying to be more soulful on this album compared to what he was doing prior.
Let me ask you,
I think,
ask the group in
oh,
general, before we go to that, and I forget my question, if you don't mind, I'm sorry. Being is that they had done Headquarters as a band, and then the second album, which again had to be released within 5 or so months. There's so much turnaround time, not much turnaround time to get the new project in. They brought back on all the Wrecking Crew or whoever, the professional musicians, and Chip Douglas to come in and produce, and Nesmith had a heavy hand on that. Um,
Right.
it seems to me that because of that, it's difficult for them to have a cohesive sound because of that.
Well, this is Headquarters. They all had time to pay to do it because the show was on hiatus. They had their summer break and they had plenty of time to work on Headquarters. By the time this came out, they were back filming shows again, and they didn't have a lot of time to really get into the studio and do as much as they'd like to do.
Yeah.
And we see this. I mean, this is where the Monkees really start splitting. By the time you get to the next album, it's like three separate artists. And Peter's not even on the next album except for Daydream Believer, which was recorded at the same time as this.
Right.
So after this, it really becomes like three separate artists sharing vinyl, especially by the time you get to present.
Right.
Present, whatever.
Present.
Present.
The thing is that
We knew what you meant.
yeah, and the Monkees were on tour at the time when this album was being recorded. So they were in different studios throughout the country. So they recorded some stuff in one studio, stuff in another studio. So the fact that they all gels together is amazing.
Absolutely.
Chip Douglas gets credit for that, I think.
Definitely. And also Mickey, I think he was kind of relieved that he didn't have the pressure of doing all the drums on the album, because for Headquarters he had to, like he used to say, he had to play every stinking little note. And for Pisces, I think he was a little, oh good, I don't have to do it all. I could do a couple of them. And so I think that freed him up a little bit.
Must have been exhausting, really, when you think about it. Any other word? Any other comments on words?
The only thing I'll say about what we're discussing, I think also the Monkees felt like they made their statement. They said, we made our album, we made it all by ourselves, and now let's go do something else. And yeah, and you also have to factor in that time. They were busy guys. They really were. And somehow this album comes out in the middle of that.
Amazing, right? Okay, moving on to side number 2. Hard to Believe, a Davy Jones track. And it's got 4 songwriters on here. Davy Jones gets some credit. We got somebody named Kim Capil, Eddie Brick, and Charlie Rocket. Doesn't sound like it's a song that needs 4 songwriters, but it's a pretty ballad. I like that one. Mark, you want to start off on that?
Oh, geez, it sounds like you already said everything about
it. Myself, I edit that out.
No, I mean, I'm not anti-Davy. I'm actually a pretty good fan, but I just wanted to say some of his songs come off really bad, but this one's really, really, really good. So it's like if it took 4 songwriters to do that, I'll say more power to them. It doesn't say specifically what each one did, so who knows if it was a lyric contribution or whatever, So, but. Yeah, like I said, I think Davey was they were all trying to stretch and improve, because even at this time they already had a bunch of older songs in the can that they could have thrown on there. In fact, they did that later on in Instant Replay, but it's like they still wanted to strive to do something better, and it's probably because of the nature of the pop world at that time with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and everybody else. Everybody's trying to better themselves from the previous album and all that stuff. So this is Davey's contribution, and he does a real good job.
Cool.
I think it's a good example.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fred.
Well, I just want to add, it's an example of what Davey used to call Broadway rock. It's a song that could have been in a Broadway musical. And he said, Broadway rock is coming, folks. And he wasn't wrong. Later on, you had Hair, you had Jesus Christ Superstar. So he wasn't that far wrong regarding that.
Yeah.
Godspell, right. Exactly. Annie?
He did Godspell even.
Calling on Me?
Yes, you.
Calling on you regarding any thoughts on Don't Call on Me, please.
No, you
no,
Hard to Believe.
No, Hard to Believe.
Hard to Believe.
Threw me off.
See, that threw me off.
Different album.
Something I just wanted to say in general about this album and the Monkees, one of my favorite things about them is they don't have a group sound. You can listen to an album and you're hit with so many different genres, so many different styles, and that's no different here. That was one thing that I was on a long car trip with my dad and we were listening to various albums, and when we'd listen to something not Monkees, I'd notice how similar things were. And then we'd listen to a Monkees album, and I loved that it just kept changing. Everything was still so good, but it didn't all sound the same. And I think it's Hard to Believe, it's kind of Broadway, a little bit ballad, but it's really good. And I just love that.
Dave, any thoughts?
Well, Beatles albums were that way too. I mean, Revolver, who I think this cover is sort of an afterthought of the Revolver cover. Every track on there is different.
That White album especially.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave, any thoughts?
Oh, it's a pretty good Davy Jones song. I mean, I was going to refer to it as show tuny. Yeah, that's basically what it is there. Yeah, I mean, I liked it.
Cool. All right, moving on. Where are we? What am I doing hanging around? Yeah, okay. Who wants to start on that one?
Oh, I will.
Okay, Gail, go for it.
Fantastic song that I think a lot of people think that Nez wrote because it really does sound kind of Nezzy.
Yeah.
But it's not. We were referring earlier to Michael Murphy and Owen Castleman, right? Yeah. And I'm fascinated because I was doing a lot of AM radio listening back, when I was in 5th grade, whatever. And that's when Michael Murphy had his big hit with Wildfire.
Right.
And when I found out it was the same guy who co-wrote What Am I Doing Hanging Around, I was a little floored. Very different songs. So, but it's a terrific number. It's a great Nez vehicle. Instrumentals are terrific. If you ever watched any of the clips when the guys were doing talk shows in the 80s, the Three Keys as they call them, and they performed this song a lot, and Peter played guitar and sang lead, and it's tremendous. And the three of them sing so well together on that tune that I kind of wish Peter had gotten the lead vocal back in '67 on this one. I think it might have worked for him. Could have been interesting.
Absolutely.
Terrific song.
There might have been a different take altogether on it, because Mike's version, I could sort of hear Glenn Campbell singing it or something. But Peter doing it might have come off in a different way.
I had the nice opportunity of being in California in 1989 when the Monkees were about to get their star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And the night before at the Universal Amphitheater, Mike joined them, and he joined them on What Am I Doing Hanging Around? And I love the way they built it up. Mickey started singing it first, and then Dave said, "Stop, Dave, Mickey. You don't have to sing it this time. We got the original voice." He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "We got Mike Nesmith." And then Mike comes on from the other side of the stage while they're pointing to that side of the stage. And it was just amazing. When Mike started singing it, the whole place rocked. The roof literally went off the place. So I'm glad I had that experience.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll mention that Michael Murphy told me, let's say about 20 years ago when I first met him, that this song was inspired by an actual incident. This apparently something similar happened to him in Mexico, and the banjo on this is Doug Dillard of
right.
And I got to hang out with Doug several times. He was one of my adopted crazy uncles. So it was
cool.
Squeaker. Yeah, very cool.
I love the Dillards.
Yeah, I photographed the Dillards several times, including once when they performed the original lineup for Andy Griffith at an event in Mount Airy, North Carolina. They came in the Darlin' Boys outfits. But Doug was a wild rock and roller at heart, and I recommend his records with Gene Clark in particular.
Yes.
Very cool.
Some people wonder why Peter is not playing the banjo on that track, but I think it's because they were so busy, they just had to grab somebody, and they got Doug.
Well, Doug's was an incredible banjo player. Nothing against Peter, but Doug was the man.
He really was. Yeah, he was, and he could play, and he also played on some Beach Boys records too. So yeah, look up his resume as well. But yeah, I love his playing. This song's amazing. Yeah,
that's great. Okay, next song I'm going to ask Mark to introduce, since you mentioned earlier about you were sentimental towards Peter Percival's Pet Pig Porky. Can you do the whole thing?
I think so.
Can anybody do the whole thing?
Peter Percival Petters had a pet pig named Porky. This pet pig named Porky loved pie. He loved pizza pie. Oh, now I'm going to miss some of them. Pizza pie, pineapple pie, minced tarts,
pumpkin
pie. Yeah. Anyway,
minced tarts.
I got close.
And Peter Percival Patterson, pet pig Porky,
ate
loved
so much
pie
pie that
pie for lunch.
He popped.
Yeah.
But you have to pop every P.
Yes.
Hi for dinner.
Ah.
Hi for lunch. But,
Bye.
Bye for-
Went into bed.
And it
to
segues
this young
into
10-year-old ears, the first time I heard that, I was laughing so hard. So now when you get the album, we're going to spoil it here because I have to talk about a Pleasant Valley Sunday. It's the strangest thing to lead into Pleasant Valley Sunday.
Isn't it?
It's so natural. It's like it should be there. I don't know why, but and that's like one of my favorite Monkees tunes of all time. I'll let other people talk. Okay.
Okay. Andy, you want to talk about Pleasant Valley Sunday?
I would love to. So some of my favorite Monkey songs are Goffin and King songs, which this is one of them. And Mickey's vocals are great. Typically when I see like articles or whatever talking about Mickey Dolenz greatest vocals, this is one of them. Just a beautiful song. I like analyzing the lyrics, seeing sort of disdain for the perfect like 50s American dream. It's interesting. I don't necessarily always agree with everything, but sometimes I'll see a neighborhood and it'll remind me of Pleasant Valley Sunday because it just looks like these houses that are exactly the same and everything is just picture perfect. I love this song. One of my favorites. I have a ton of favorites, but this is one of them. So
Cool.
just great song.
Bob?
Well, it's funny. I presently live in Levittown, Long Island, and Levittown's were the mass-produced homes in the late 40s. So I always would think of that, looking outside my own house and being like, what was this really talking about? But good thought, Annie, with what you said.
I live next to
Michael?
an actual Pleasant Valley. It's like 2 miles from my house.
I
The
live,
Pleasant Valley.
yeah,
I drive
live
by
by
Pleasant
one
Valley
too.
High School, and it's kind of, of course I think of the song. And as Mark and I have talked about before, between Pleasant Valley Sunday and Porpoise Song, those are our two favorite Monkey songs, and we keep going back and forth about which one is our favorite. And both, of course, are Goffin King songs.
Right.
Yeah.
And just the fact that Mike and Mickey made up that guitar riff.
Yeah, well, that's key too. I mean,
Mike and Peter, sorry.
Right. When I talk to people
Chip,
about the
I thought.
Monkees, they say, well, they didn't play their instruments. I said, well, Pleasant Valley Sunday would not be the same without Mike playing that lead.
Yeah.
Daydream Believer would not be the same without Peter playing that piano intro. They made the songs with their musicians. They definitely were musicians.
Yeah, that's like I think you'd said earlier too, Michael, that's one of the greatest things about these sessions, with Daydream Believer and this song as well. I love that you can hear Mickey, Mike, and Davy's vocals on this song. It just doesn't get any better than that for me. And I am
Peter
also
is-
very pleased when my roses are in bloom, so I'll just put that out there.
Yeah, and Peter is playing the piano on that track too.
Yeah, it's a great group effort.
Any thoughts, Dave?
It's a very enjoyable song. If you can, I know it's out there that Carole King has her version of it too. That part of the writer of it. I've heard it was really pretty when she does it too.
Yeah. So
the version
with,
of Pleasant. Oh, I'm sorry.
Pleasant Valley
who's
Sunday.
talking?
Version of Pleasant Valley Sunday. Carole King did her.
There's a version of Pleasant Valley Sunday on, I think it's the one box set where it like gets elongated at the end and gets louder and louder, right? That's not on this new set. That's on something that's older.
That ending with all the reverb, as reverb sort of takes over. Andy Partridge in one of the XTC albums, a song called Gold, does the same thing, and it just builds and builds. And he specifically said he was using Pleasant Valley Sunday as his inspiration. And of course, he was a big Monkees fan. He ended up writing songs for them after all.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And,
having that record and having that ending was so incredible. I just love that. And so kind of disappointed it's not on the album, but it's one of my favorites. And one of the remarks I'll just make quickly is that again, when you're a kid, you hear things a certain way, and so when Mickey sings the line, "All the houses that are all the same, and no one seems to care." Apologize for my bad singing. But instead of singing all the same, I thought he was saying over sane to, kind of remark that it was crazy. It was, these people were living these ridiculous lives, or
Mm.
anti-suburbia and all that. And he was so oversaying meant something along that ilk. So
Right.
just my little
Well,
thought.
well, Carole King did not have that intro, that guitar intro on her demo, and it
Yeah.
was Chip Douglas that came up with it, and he taught it to Mike Nesmith.
Yeah.
And Carole King initially didn't like it, but then she
Hmm.
got the checks, so after that she loved it.
I mean, it's
I like it. I
iconic,
like it.
isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. And by the way, Carole King, the Live in the Living Room album. And of course she's done it in any of her live albums. But that in particular is a very good version of Pleasant Valley Sunday. So if you want to check that out, you can check out her Live in the Living Room album.
Yeah, I
Um,
think they also performed Pleasant Valley Sunday in the her musical Beautiful, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Will
that's
do?
the one
Okay.
Monkees tune that shows up in that. Yeah.
Cool. We gotta do a show on Carole King one of these nights.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, we have Daily Nightly. Super wacky cold song there. Fred, you want to lead us off on that one, please?
Yeah, Daily Nightly is an amazing song in that this was one of the first pop songs to incorporate a Moog synthesizer. I think is it Paul Beaver or Mickey? I think it's Mickey that's doing the Moog on this song. And is it? I think it is.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
I
it's
think
Mickey.
so.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's just a great song that Mike Nesmith wrote, and he let Mickey do the vocals on it. And it's all about I think the Sunset Boulevard
Sunset Strip, right,
riots,
right.
Yeah.
Sunset Strip riots, I believe.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
that the kids were like they wanted to stay out, and the city was instilling a curfew, and there were
Right.
fights and all that kind of stuff. And this was Mike's spin of what was going on the strip,
Yep.
and his hallucinatory vision of it. And Mickey's vocals, which are very spooky, just adds to it. And when you put in the Moog, that even puts another layer on top of that. And the way it ends is great. And if you see the video that's on the TV series, whenever they play it, and Mickey at the very end says psychedello, you know, psychedelic. Is it psychedelic or psychedello?
Psychedelic.
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 Psychedelic. So it's a psychedelic song, and for the Monkees to have a couple of psychedelic songs on this album shows how they were pushing the bar so much.
Yeah.
You know,
Bob, any thoughts?
They did push the bar. That's why I say they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because they did escape. They got out of that mold. That they weren't. They were. What they were. Initially. This album showed that they were a real thing, and that they meant business. That's what I took it as.
I like it when they did it live, when Nesmith rejoined the band after Davy's passing.
Yeah.
And Mickey pulled out this big book that had the lyrics in it, and he says, "There's too many lyrics to this," or something to that effect. And it's like, just because it's a very complicated to sing song, at least from memory.
And then Mike did the sound effects with his
Yeah.
mouth.
Right.
Yeah, that was
Right.
great. Yes.
Without having to
uh,
this is the first Mike song where he has nonsense titles, you notice. After this came Tapioca Tundra and Righting Wrongs and Auntie's Municipal Court and Naked Persimmons or whatever, So he went through that little period where he was doing that.
Yeah.
Annie, what was your impression of it?
Daily Nightly, again, going back to Mickey's vocals, I'll see him kind of compared to Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane with this song. Just very, very passionate. The Moog synthesizer adds this, as Fred said, psychedelic sound to it. It sounds kind of like a UFO. But this is another one that I really love. I love the lyrics. Nesmith could be so poetic, and this really is one of those that truly stands out as that.
Before we go any further, one of the nice things about this group is that, first of all, I'm thrilled to listen to all of you guys talk, women, guys talking, and hearing about the expertise of the musicians and so forth, and just sharing this information. It's beautiful. It really is to me. I mean, it means a lot to me to be able to hear about that, and you're sharing your expertise with us and your memories and so forth. So that means a lot. Annie is, I think most of us must recognize as the youngest person in on our little checkerboard here, and it's just so cool that younger generations are embracing the music that we love, whether it's the Birds or the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or whatever, and of course the Monkees. And so it's just very cool. And one of the things that I'm always interested in, Annie, is that as a younger person, how is it that the Monkees in general came into your life?
Through my dad. My dad knew them starting in the 70s and the 80s when he was growing up. And, they've kind of just been part of my life for as long as I could remember. But I didn't start getting really, really into them until about 3.5 years ago, maybe 4. So, I don't have as much expertise as everybody else, but they've become such an important part of my life. I've seen Mickey 7 times since 2022, and I've met him, and I've helped out at a couple conventions with them, and I think I kind of discovered who I was when I embraced that I loved older things. I loved older music and shows. That was what I grew up with, and I'm trying to keep that going. I've got a niece who's 2. She's 2 and she adores Mickey. So got to keep it going.
Yeah, that's great. Super, super.
So
All right,
it's
cool.
it's the Birds, the Beatles, and the Monkees, but that's another album.
All right, so the next soundtrack is Don't Call on Me. Gail, do you want to talk about that one?
I think this is a great way to cap off the whole album. It's a really interesting number for Nez to sing, something much softer, interesting, instrumental. I like the opening with the chatter is really different, really fun. One of the things I learned on the box set, they have rehearsals for that when they
Right.
did that chatter, which is interesting. I thought it was a lot more off the cuff or ad lib, but you can tell that they actually did have some lines that were scripted that they wanted them to say, and that they did rehearse it. So it's less spontaneous than I had
And,
always thought. But
and it's Bob
yeah,
Rafelson
Bob
playing the
Rafelson is
piano.
there.
Playing
I
the
forget who
piano.
else is. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, Bob is playing piano.
How cool is that?
And coming from Chicago, it's always interesting that Mickey refers to the elegant pump room at the top of the Palmer House, and the pump room isn't in the Palmer House. So, but I think Bob is telling him to say that. So maybe Bob thought it was, but no, never was, still isn't. So, but no, it's a really beautiful number, and it's a nice kind of a I don't know, it's a stark contrast to Daily Nightly too. So
Yeah.
it's it kind of brings you down, and kind of smooths out the ending to the whole album.
Cool.
It's quite different from Nez's 1963 demo of the song. Well, one thing I would say against it, and I don't think Mike had any thoughts of it being that way, but the melody sounds very much like Jerry and the Pacemakers' "Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying."
Okay.
I'm gonna have to listen to that again.
Except for, wait,
And
didn't Mike's come first?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
of course not.
I mean, you said there was a demo back in 63.
63, but it doesn't sound anything like
Oh, I see what you mean. It
one.
changed.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Got it.
melody is different.
I wasn't familiar with the demo. I'm sorry. Okay.
And it's amazing the way Mike sings it. he sings it very close and low to the microphone, so that he's basically crooning. He's doing a Bing Crosby, because that's how Bing Crosby used to record, talking this close to the mic. So it's a very unique vocal for him, and it worked very well.
Okay, Star Collector. Dave, you want to start on Star Collector?
Yeah, it was, I believe it was written by Jerry Kaufman and Carole King, and sung by David Thomas Jones. I think Paul Beaver's on there for the Moog for that one. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Yeah, very psychedelic, kind of like Daily Nightly in a way, but different. Or it's basically, I think it's about like groupies. Am I wrong on that? Okay, all right.
No, you're right.
Okay, good. So another controversial psychedelic tunes because of the content.
Right. Now, did they know that was going to be the last song on the record? Because I kept thinking that, of course, with Mickey going, bye, 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 bye.
Well, he starts by saying hello at the beginning, so I guess he had to say bye-bye.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Hello.
Purple.
Purple?
Now, this is something.
He's saying purple? I always thought he was saying pickle.
No, he says the purple.
Just, hello, pickle.
That's Peter backwards. It says purple.
Oh. I'm gonna have to play it backwards to see.
Daniel, any thoughts?
This was always one of my favorites when I kind of discovered the Monkees TV series, and it's really fun to watch them near the end of that second season, really kind of embracing the psychedelia and the different ways they present these songs. This was always a favorite video of mine. Yeah,
this is sort of the Monkees version of the Rolling Stones Star Star before that song came around. And if you know what Star Star is about, that's what Star Collector's about. So same thing. Same things, folks.
I've always found that Davey and Mickey together, my favorite combination. Almost, maybe not quite John and Paul, but just the way they two blend together, whether they're singing together in harmony or they're answering each other, respond and answer.
And both Mike and Peter are both playing guitar on this, so this is a song that definitely has all four of them, which doesn't
it's all
always
Monkees,
happen.
Yeah,
So
cool.
that's always nice. It's also the longest. It's like 4.5 minutes. It's actually, there's a longer version, of course, but the one that got on the actual album is a little bit shorter. So it's the first really long song before, I guess, the next album when you have Righting Wrongs.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is just the way that I guess it's a lot of it's the Moog synthesizer, but the way the sound moves from one channel to the other. And so I just that just blows my mind every time I hear it. All these years later, it doesn't make a difference. I still love it. It's like it's so cool.
The first time I heard Star Collector, actually, a friend of mine, early 70s, had the Barrel Full of Monkees album, and Star Collector was my favorite. That's where I first heard it, was on the Barrel Full of Monkees.
Wow.
I'll tell one story about Bob Moog, and actually he was told you could pronounce it any way you wanted, but the family pronounced it Moog. My first several trips to Asheville would go up and photograph bands, and there was a gentleman who would drive around town in a very old car, about 70s car, and had action figures stuck to his front hood. And one time he was parking the car, and I was passing, I was like, "Hey man, that's cool car." And he goes, "Oh, thank you." I found out later it was Bob Moog. So, yes.
Very cool. All right, so we have we're going to move on to discuss the new Super Deluxe version of the album. So Fred, Bob, and who else has the
Annie
set?
has it, right?
Yeah.
Annie has the set. So Fred, can you show us the initial packaging of the album?
Well, here's the box, and it's beautiful. It's got the original artwork there, and the artist, I forget, Dan, you would know who the artist was, right?
I need to look that up.
I'm on the spot.
It's Bernard Yezin, right?
Yeah, and his idea was the Monkees were so well known. All he had to do was put a silhouette of them, and people would know it's a Monkees album. And he was right. He just put Monkees very light, just hidden in the leaves there, and it works out very well. And this is like one of the best album covers of the 70s. I mean, excuse me, 60s, from the late 60s, from 67. I mean,
70s too.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you consider what was released that year. You had Sergeant Pepper, you had Between the Buttons by the Rolling Stones, you had the first Pink Floyd album, you know. So there was a lot of fantastic albums that came out,
Yeah.
and this was one of them. So this album was in very good company. So anyway, let's see what's inside, shall we?
I've also seen the design as sort of like a more minimal version of the Bee Gees' first album, which was designed by
Right.
Coston. So,
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Here's one of the reels right here that we produced right there.
Oh, nice.
And let's see what we got here. We got the booklet, which is amazing. It's got incredible Henry Dill's photos in it. And here's, I think you know this episode.
Great, Fred. I'm sorry. Is someone else have someone they can show maybe?
Once again, I will say Henry Diltz is the man. I just, he's one of the photographers that is one
is
reason
nice.
why I do this. Why, I took up photographing bands. So, Henry, if you're out there, call me.
Before we go any further, Fred,
yes,
yeah, that's great. That's some really great photos in there. We're gonna move on over to who else has the set? It's Annie and Bob,
Annie
right?
has it, and Bob, yes.
Okay, Annie. So why don't you show us a little bit about the track listings?
Sure. So there are 102 tracks in total. First disc has the original stereo album, a bunch of new remixes and alternate mixes. Then we've got second disc is the original mono album. Again, a bunch more alternate mono mixes, some TV mixes on there. Disc 3, we start getting into sessions. A lot of those are backing tracks, but you've got a few vocal sessions in there. Some instrumentals. And then disc 4, there are more sessions and alternate mixes. And you've got a bunch of different reissue mixes. There's a reissue session, which is really, really funny. I love that. I think my favorite that I've heard so far is an alternate remix of The Door into Summer. I believe it's track 18 on the first disc.
Yeah.
Just incredible work on that. I mean, it's already a somewhat complex song, but Andrew Sandoval just made it that much more, so much layering of the vocals and the instruments, extended the end. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and let's give props to Andrew Sandoval, who produced this new set, and incredible job.
Like I said on Facebook, I said Andrew Sandoval should have been picked by Apple to do the Beatles anthology.
Agree.
I don't know. I'm worried Volume 4 is not going to be that good.
Mm-hmm. But thank God.
Michael, did you want to speak about something?
No, I wanted to ask a question for those who have actually heard disc 1. Has any of it been remixed in the same way that Headquarters was remixed? So not
yes,
because when I listen to Pisces, sometimes all the drums are on one side and all the instruments are on the other. Has it been remixed in that sense?
Well, I've heard the mixes. They sound good to me, and there are 25 mixes on here.
Right.
So there's remixes in there. So you got totally different versions of the songs here as Andrew mixed them. Yeah. Just keeping the essence of the original songs. But
are they remixed in terms of moving them from different speakers and things like that, or is it still just the same?
I think he kept them to where the speakers are supposed to be in the original mixes.
I thought so too. The best is the vocals. You feel like, if you put your ear up any closer to the speaker, you'd get the spit on the microphone from them singing, because it sounds like they're right there.
Okay.
I'm one of these people who I've really been very happy with the Beatles remixes, where instead of all the instruments on one side and all the vocals on the one side, they mixed it together. And I really loved the Headquarters remix because it wasn't all muddy. And that's what I was looking forward to with this. I was hoping they were able to do that. I remember I actually asked Andrew about that one time, and he said the problem is that they didn't have individual tracks like they did for Headquarters, so they could do it. but I'm also aware that under the new technology that the Beatles have been using, you can split these things apart. So that's why I was hoping that's what I was going to get with this. But I guess not.
Oh.
Still good.
Fred,
I
you
mean,
have
that's got to be an expensive project, I would guess. You know, the Beatles can afford it, the
Yeah.
Monkees probably couldn't. Yeah.
Fred, you have the CD as well as the vinyl.
Yep. Here's the vinyl. Here's
Does the
the single.
CD include all of the tracks, or is it only the vinyl that has a lot of the extra goodies?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the single, the mixes on this are unique to the vinyl, but there are mixes here that are similar to what's on the single. I think these are in mono, I believe. Let me just take a quick peek.
I haven't played the single yet. I don't think I played any of the singles from the box sets.
Right, but I listened to Love Is Only Sleeping and Going Down, and it seems that these versions are on the CDs, but this is probably the mix is probably a little bit different, so it could be considered unique to the single itself.
Okay.
But one of the things I like, besides they recreated the mono and stereo copies, was they did the Japanese cover of Pisces.
Yeah.
And this is the German German cover.
Part 2, yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And if let me just get this. It's inside the box. Okay. It's a ad that says you're under the sign of the Monkees. You know, like the sign of Pisces or Aquarius.
Pisces, Capricorn, Aquarius, and so forth. Right. It's very cool.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a nice, cool idea for a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I was just gonna comment about we haven't talked about there are. I mean, there are a lot of really interesting additional mixes and jams and things like that. But some of the main tracks that were completed for this album, but apparently weren't included, was "Going Down" and
Right.
"Going Down," which was actually written by all the Monkees.
And
It's
Diane
interesting
Hillebrand,
that
I
was
believe.
not included. Gail, can you tell us a little bit about "Going Down"?
Another one of my all-time favorite songs and a family favorite going way back. My dad and my uncle just loved it too, which was kind of funny. Yeah, there's a lot of takes on the box set, and it's interesting to hear the isolated instrumental backing tracks. To me, it's really got it's a very funky monkey song. It's, it's got a lot of movement to it. It's so I really enjoying that. And of course, when you get back to Mickey's vocals, I mean, he just nails it in this song. His performance of this song is tremendous. I remember somebody asked me once why nobody ever covered this song if it's such a good song. I said, well, how would you top this version? There's no reason to cover it.
Yeah.
And what's really nice is that the box set has the original mono single mix, which is not. This is the first time I think it's actually been on CD. I mean, there have been variations like the longer versions or whatever, but for the very first time, the original mono single mix of "Going Down" is on this box set.
Right.
Yeah, and that kind of takes me back because that's the way I remember hearing that as a kid, because I always played the 45 all the time. And then over the years, it's kind of changed with whatever compilation I was listening to a lot, whatever version they used, I got used to, subsequently. And then when stuff was remastered back in the, I guess, 2007-ish or whatever, when they did a lot of these, that kind of changes. You get used to hearing it a certain way. So it's really kind of a kick to go back and hear the original single version.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at the listings here of some of what are alternate and additional tracks here. Mark, I'm looking at some of the tracks. Are you familiar with with all that's in the new box?
I read through the track listing, and of course I wrote the book with Michael that has like everything they ever recorded.
Yeah, one of the
What
things
are
that I
you
would
trying?
want to,
What are you trying to ask?
one of the things I would want to hear was like the instrumental acoustic versions of "Can You Dig It,"
Yeah.
"Man Without a Dream," things like that aren't already on the album, but they were like gonna come later, and that that sounds like it would be very interesting. Anything in particular you wanted to hear in this box?
Well, you know, I'm excited, you know, and I actually might buy this one because it's funny, you know, when these started coming out, didn't they start with Head
Birds.
first, and they kind of went
Birds.
around the
We
Bird.
it
did
was
birds
Birds first?
first.
Okay, yeah, so
2009.
this
Yeah.
is the last. It went around the horn, you know, as it were.
Yeah.
It was a friend of mine who was buying them, and I said, "Wow, you know, it's like by the time I got interested in them, they were all out of print." It's like and you know, I'm one of these ones I don't really want partially done, but I might actually splurge for this one because I love this album so much. Um, I don't know what I would look forward to. It just you know, I like hearing like on the Beatles collections the alternate tracks and
Yeah.
alternate takes and the working versions and things like that. The Ryuchu is the one that probably is the one that I would like to hear the most, you know, out of everything.
I,
Yeah,
I
the
agree
Rio
with
Chi.
Mark in some ways because I feel the same way about the Beatles anthologies. I listened to them once, other than the like, the new songs, like Not Guilty or something. But generally speaking, I hate to spend that much money on a collection like this when I know I'm only going to listen to 3 of the discs once, maybe, and that's why I kept hoping that they're going to release just the first disc so I can just get that.
Yeah. And when we did the book, all this stuff was on YouTube, so I hate to say that's where we listened to all of it.
Right,
So,
right.
on the other
I
boxes.
actually went to YouTube today hoping that someone had uploaded some of the new songs and I couldn't find them. So no one's done that yet. So if anyone here wants to do that.
And it's still not on Spotify.
No, not yet.
There was a controversy a few weeks ago where it appeared very briefly on Spotify,
I heard,
but
yeah.
I don't see any of the Super Deluxes on Spotify. I see the
I-
Deluxes,
Yeah.
but not the Super Deluxes. So
Yeah.
probably not
There's
gonna
a
get.
there's a rumor going that the downloads for this box set might go up in January. That's just a rumor right now, but because of the fact that this was dropped digitally first before
Yeah.
the physical box was ready to be announced. So and then Rhino pulled it out quickly. But what I'm hearing is that there's a possibility that maybe there will be downloads of the box set coming up in January. We'll find out when it happens, if it happens.
Yeah,
You
very
know,
cool.
what I'd like to see at this point is, since the Beatles are doing their 4th anthology and the other 3 are being reissued, they should do a Monkees version of the anthology, have like a 4-disc set of the best of all these boxes, the best stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they did that already. It's called Missing Links.
No, not just Missing Links. No, the best of all these box sets that we're just talking about. You know, since I think they're all out, they're not gonna do a changes one, are they?
No, I don't.
I
That's
mean, it'd
not
be nice if
possible.
they did the
No.
Pool It
No.
one and then a Just Us one and a Good
Oh,
Times
God.
one, but they probably won't ever do those either.
No.
So this is the
Well,
last one, right?
This is what I would like to see happen. I don't
Yeah.
think they can do a changes Super Deluxe, but I would like to see a changes Deluxe 2 CDs with the original album and whatever they could find left over from the studio. Maybe even some Nesmith songs from the period, and add those in. So that I would like to see. I would pay money for.
I want Andrew Sandoval to get a
Don't-
hold of the Partridge Family music and do this for the Partridge Family because we are waiting for something, you know.
The Beatles did that already. They already did something.
Well, 2 things I wish that they could find. First of all, is go back early and find the Snuff Garrett studio stuff of
Yeah.
the Monkees. I would like to hear that.
Yeah.
And then there supposedly was a pro recording of a 1969 concert. I would like to hear that.
That would be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'd
a
love
lot
to
of
hear
people
more
still
live
searching for
concert.
that. Yeah.
Well, I think Andrew had said that a collector out there has a recording of the 1967 Hollywood Bowl concert, and it almost got into this box set, but the guy was asking for too much money, and Rhino
Yeah.
didn't
Wow.
want to.
Right.
Rhino and Warner's didn't want to chip in on that, so they just left it to the album itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a
you'd
video
think
that
after,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you'd think after 40 years of reunion touring that you could come up with a nice live box set of material from every tour, or
Yes.
virtually every tour.
It's
That
something.
would be nice.
And while they did release the Mike and Mickey shows, I know that there are recordings of all the tours from like 2011 on that Andrew did. So hopefully someday, there's a few shows that I was at that I think we were at that I would love to have out there for the world and for the next generation of fans.
Like Mike
Well,
Nesbitt
what
said.
I'm gonna do. I'm sorry.
Like Mike Nesbitt said, someday.
As part of the show notes for this podcast, I'm going to put in Andrew Sandoval's unboxing of this album, and he does a really intricate discussion as to what he put in, why he put some things in, and some of his background regarding doing it. So, hopefully, if my brain is still working, I'll have all that in there when we get to that point. So, as we're moving towards the end of our podcast, I'm going to ask everyone to go around, introduce themselves again, and what they do, what is their, uh, how was their, music, and what is it that they like to do. And then we can kind of promote those kinds of things and where people can find each other, and where our listeners and people that are watching us can find us. And that would be kind of cool. Fred, why don't we start with you and your books, please?
Okay, I'm Fred Velez. I'm the author of these two monkey books, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, The Monkees from a Fan's Perspective, and the more current book, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You 2, The Monkees from International Fan Perspectives, where I have fans from all over the world talking about their monkey experiences. Those books I have out. I'm also having a website, freddypop.wordpress.com. Freddy Pop is spelled FREDDYPOP. And you could go there and see my current articles. I just did a 2-part article on the Pisces box set, which I hope folks will check out. And I've been a Monkees fan and collector for many years from the very beginning. More of the Monkees was actually my very first Monkees album. And I was the MC for the early 80s Monkees conventions into 1986, and also for the 2013 Davy Jones Memorial Convention. And I had the pleasure of working with Davy on one of his books. And I'm just glad to be part of this panel with all these other folks with various expertise. And I just recently turned 70, folks. So I may be the oldest person here.
Congratulations.
Okay, so I'm not
Thank
the
you.
oldest.
Happy
I made
birthday,
it.
Fred.
I made it. So we had the youngest and the oldest. One of the oldest here. So I just want to thank all the fans out there for staying true to the group, and let's hope for more monkey business in 2026, the 60th
cool.
anniversary.
And one more thing for Fred, he is the moderator of several Monkees themed Facebook groups. So what are those groups, Fred?
Monkey Fan Book and Davy Jones, Peter Tork, and Michael Nesmith Memorial page. Both of those pages are on Facebook, so you can find them that way, and you'll find me on Facebook as well as X and on MeWe as well.
Okay, he's all over the place. You can't miss him.
And Instagram. It's everywhere. He's here.
All right.
He's there. He's everywhere. So beware.
And now we have our friend Dave Wright.
I'm
Where can we find you? And stuff like that.
Well, where you guys found me on Facebook, I'm on there, and then I'm Holly Dizzle on X. You can probably find me on Instagram as well.
Very cool. Annie?
You can find me. I run the page Mickey Dolan's Archive, which is on Facebook and Threads and Twitter or X and Instagram. I am also, I recently became an admin of the official Monkees Facebook fan club, I think. It's the group on Facebook. So yeah, I'm around.
Very cool. Very cool. Gail?
Yeah, I am pretty much a lifelong Monkees fan. I enjoy 60s and 70s pop culture tremendously. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram following anything related to those sites. When I want to know what's going on, I just follow Annie. She's up on all that stuff. But yeah, it's tremendous fun to get together with y'all. I love talking Monkees with people and really appreciate all you guys and especially Ed for hosting all this. It's great fun.
Thank you. And together, Mark and Mike
Oh,
at the same time. No.
No.
In unison.
The reason
Mike's
he's
done a
putting
lot
us
of
two
stuff
together.
without me.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't aware, Mark and I wrote two Monkees books. The first one is called basically, it's all about the songs. We go over every single song, and it's looking for the good times. And the
Got it.
second one is called Headquarters, where we talk about the Monkees biography. So after they split up, what did they do? That sort of thing. So we wrote those two books together. I've also written a book about the Beatles called The Beatles on the Charts, where I go through every single song of theirs that ever went on the charts, including the solo years. And I have a whole bunch of novels, and I have a whole bunch of anthologies I've edited. And you can find everything on michaelventrella.com and on Facebook. Mark?
Mark?
And I've written a bunch of books myself, but the music-related ones, other than the two Monkees books, is I did Mark Arnold Picks on the Beatles, and I did a collaboration with Charles Rosenay about the Turtles. If you're a Monkees fan or a Beatles fan, you should also be a Turtles fan. At the very least, they have a lot of interesting crossovers with Henry Diltz and Chip Douglas and things like that. So, and apart from those things, I host my own podcast called Fun Ideas Podcast, and many of the people here have been on it. And let's see, I'm currently writing a book about Walt Disney production movie directors for their
Wow.
live action films. Yeah, among other
Very
things.
cool. Very cool. Thank you, Mark.
Mhm.
Daniel?
I think I just had a Monkees moment. I kind of disappeared and came back. So wait for it. He's gone.
Psychedelic.
He's
I thought
back.
you were done. You're like, I'm out of here.
Well, I want Ed. Thank you for coming down for the festival for the band that the Monkees influenced, the Beatles. We just had Fab Fest here in Charlotte. Ed was a great guest, and Ed, it was great to see you again. And that was a really fun weekend, and we will be doing it again on October 26th.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as
cool.
for,
And Daniel is a well-renowned photographer, music producer. Just give us about 5 minutes of your spiel.
Thank you. So I'm Daniel. If you don't know me, I'm Daniel. I work with a lot of different folks as a photographer, writer, and as you mentioned, record producer and promoter like FabFest. If you go to the Big Stir Records website, you can see my new bio for the Strawberry Alarm Clock. I'm working with them on a new album, which is awesome.
Wow.
I've been hopefully in the next month I can tell you more about the Chad and Jeremy archives I've been working on for the past month. That has been an amazing, endless dive, a treasure trove of cool stuff. I've got another project I will tell you all about really soon. Actually, we're working out some major media for that, so stand by. And there's a lot of different things going on. I am still working on about 2 more books, hopefully soon, somewhere coming soon. And I'm looking forward to get on the road. I'm actually going to maybe out in the West Coast sometime soon to do some stuff with the alarm clock. So I will let everybody know when that is. And as if you need to find me, it's Daniel Coston, danielcoston.com, Daniel Coston Photos on Instagram and Facebook and all that fun stuff. So,
and he's a terrific photographer. I had the pleasure of seeing your most recent show. And so keep all this work going up. Really, really, really great stuff, man.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, I will be doing another show in that venue in Charlotte in early 2026. So I'm still deciding what kind of show I want to do. So if you guys have any suggestions, maybe I'll just do a monkey show. So there. So
That'd be cool.
So there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I still want to do a show of just all my pictures from the show in Hollywood in 2016, which I got to photograph for the Monkees. So
Yeah, I would love to see all that. Yeah.
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 As Nez once said, Fred, someday.
Someday. Just
Okay,
invite
last
the
but
monkey
not
man.
least,
Yeah.
we have a new addition to our group here. We have Bob Koenig. Bob,
Hi.
I met about a month ago, or a bit more than that, and he was doing a show about exploiting the Beatles in one of our local libraries. So, Bob, can you talk a little bit about that and about other things that you're doing?
I'm still doing a tour of that at different libraries on Long Island. I'm at the Seaford Library November 3rd. I have a couple others pending for next year. And so that's been going well. That's because I have an article that was published by Retro Fan magazine. It's about all the different albums that came out in 1964. But besides that, my lifelong love for music, I had a band in the 80s that was on national TV. A few years ago, our CD came out in Australia. I have a lot of solo music that's on Spotify. I do everything from rock to folk to country. So
Very cool.
I've been in local historical societies. I get involved with community affairs and things like that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Can I add
Okay.
one thing?
Yes, please.
There was a gold mine magazine a couple months ago with the Monkees article, and Mark and I have a story in there. So
Oh,
That's right. The new Monkees magazine, right?
yes,
New Monkees Gold Mine with
Gold Mine,
Ventrella and Arnold.
yes.
There it is. And there it is.
All right,
There
Fred
it
has
is.
it.
Thank you.
Fred has
Thank
it.
you, Fred.
Oh,
Yes,
there you
you're
are.
welcome.
I still need to order a copy. So
So do I. They promised me they're going to send me a copy, and I never got it. So I need to order one, I guess.
Aw, I got one.
oh, shoot.
One
Media.
more thing
Yeah.
about Bob is that the show again, it was so entertaining. It was
Thank
so
you.
much fun with that. For an hour or so, it was just a lot of fun to have you talk about the different Beatles albums and the the creations that it's like the expression, you give someone a little power and see what they do with it. You give somebody 16 songs, you see what they can do with it, and all these this record company and all the stuff that they did, and yeah,
Right.
I think if you can check out if you do anything further out other than Long Island, Bob, I think it's something that you could market and do for other people. So
I'd love to. Yeah.
very cool. Alrighty, my name is Ed Rising. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on I find this podcast, Ed's Pop-O-Matic Podcast, on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. So you just go to YouTube and type in Ed Rising or Ed Rising's Pop-O-Matic Podcast, and you can find all these wonderful videos that we do. And a lot of the other streaming platforms, you can get an audio version of these shows, which I have to do a little bit more maintenance with. It's been a while since I've done put the audio side of these shows out. But anyway, I'm really appreciative of all the guests that we have here today, and all the people that are listening and subscribing and viewing and whatever of these shows. And I'm going to let you all go home and do the rest of have the rest of your lives to live now. So thank you very much. This is Ed's Pop-O-Matic Podcast, a retro pop culture podcast that does something when you keep it in your heart. I can't ever remember the whole damn spiel. Whatever. Anyway, good night, everybody. Have a nice
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Thanks. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Everybody.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
I can't stop this crazy thing.
Bye.
Woo.
Stop this crazy thing.
Slick it,
Yay,
slick it.
There
stop
it
this
is.
crazy
There it
thing.
is. There it is.